Hi everybody. Okay, so just a little bit of a rant here before we get going. This past weekend I was Googling a bunch of shit, and I don't know why, but I decided to Google, is wine good for you? And the exact thing that popped up was, research suggests that drinking an occasional glass of red wine is good for you. It provides antioxidants, may promote longevity, and can help protect against heart disease and harmful inflammation. Now, I went and Googled, is mead good for you? And the first thing that popped up was a big, fat no. There is no clinically proven health benefits to mead. It does go on to say, historically though, mead has been believed to be healthy to both drink as well as to make into healing tonics. So really, what gives? How can wine be good for you, but mead not? So, I don't know. I decided to say, piss on it. We are going to make, or attempt to make, medicinal mead. Because why not? So usually when people say they're sick, especially kids, what do most parents tell them to do? That's right. Grab a can of ginger ale. It'll help soothe your stomach. Honestly, I've been guilty of doing this as well. And doing a deep dive into that, there's not necessarily as much ginger in ginger ale as would be needed to be healthy. So, me being me, I decided to make my own ginger ale. So, to do this, I did a lot of research, and now I swear by this stuff. I make a ginger syrup. It's right here. I'm basically going to use my ginger syrup, and we're going to attempt to make a ginger ale mead. I know this has been done by a bunch of other people, but whatever, I'm doing it my way. I know this stuff works. Usually what I do with this is I take about a tablespoon, fill it with about 8 ounces of tonic water, and mix it, and it tastes just like a can of ginger ale. So I pre-made this stuff, but here's a quick cut to me making the ginger syrup so you can see how that's done. See, it's pretty freaking simple, isn't it? And like I said, this stuff, it freaking works. I honestly can't remember the last time I was really, really sick, because if I feel like I'm starting to get, an upset stomach, whatever, I have some of that, and I'm usually good by the next day. So, in my attempt to make a ginger ale mead, we will be using my syrup, and we're going to make it a low ABV, because obviously if you go too high, when you're sick, you're not going to want to drink that. So we're going to aim for around 10%. Now as you saw with me making it, there is sugar in here, because you boil it all down to make it into a syrup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out 16 tablespoons for this. I'll add my water, And then we'll take a gravity reading of this, just to see where it's sitting at. And then we'll adjust to see how much wildflower honey we're gonna need. So, 16 tablespoons. Now, I'm going to weigh this because I'm going to take my notes, and you always want to weigh stuff. It's just way more accurate than using a tablespoon all the time, because the next time I go to do it, it could spill over, or I don't fill it, the exact amount. So we're gonna weigh this as we measure it. Okay, so our ginger syrup is in here, and I rounded it up a little bit to 10 ounces. So now we're gonna add a gallon of water, and we'll give it a stir, and then we'll check our gravity reading. Okay, so I added the gallon of water. Gravity reading says it's sitting right now at 1.014, which is actually a lot higher than I thought. But now we're gonna add our honey, and we're going to try to shoot for about 1.070. So we'll just dump this back in. Okay, so in the end, it ended up taking 2 pounds of honey to bring it to actually it's at 1.072. I'm not really worried about that. So we're gonna dump this in. And I realized that by putting a full gallon of water in this and then adding the honey and stuff, it actually gives me more than a gallon, actually a fair amount more once you add the honey in and the syrup. But I do this on purpose because then, once you rack it off, the lees and all that kind of stuff, you always end up losing some. And, you take tasters as you go. So in the end, I usually end up with exactly a gallon. That's just the way I do it. A lot of people will add their honey and then add water to 1 gallon. I always just add a full gallon. You can do it one way or the other. There's no wrong way. Again, just keep taking your gravity readings to hit the ABV that you're aiming for. So now that we have this, I'm gonna give it a really good stir, get a lot of air incorporated into that. This actually smells really good already. I'm just gonna take a small sip. I haven't added anything else. I just wanna see what it tastes like right now. I could probably drink it just like this, to be honest. Oh, that's good. I have a feeling this is gonna turn out fantastic. All right, our next step. What we're gonna do, we're gonna add our nutrients. And for this, because it's a low ABV mead, and I am gonna be using EC 1118 yeast, mainly because I didn't get to go out to the store to buy. I was gonna go with something a little different this time, but I was lazy. So what I'm gonna do for my nutrient schedule for this mead here is 1 tablespoon of fermented O, half a teaspoon fermented K, and a 1/4 teaspoon of potassium sorbate. Nope, do not do the sorbate. Potassium carbonate when I pitch my yeast. And then on day 2, I'll add another teaspoon of fermented O, mix that in, and then I'm just gonna leave it. Because the yeast will eat right through this. So let's add our nutrients. And now we pitch our yeast, and I'm just using a half a packet. Now I must say the nice thing about doing it this way is it's super simple to make the syrup, and in the end, there's no little bits or anything. And there's our meat for today. Now, even though I have changed, I didn't really change the nutrient schedule that much. I basically just took out an extra day of fermented O. I will still be giving this a little bit of a shake for the first 4 or 5 days, just to keep everything moving. Now, when I tasted this, it was delicious, and I think it's gonna be fantastic. You do lose a little bit of flavor, it blows it off when everything starts fermenting really good. So depending on how that goes, I will back sweeten it either with just more honey, if that ginger flavor is there. If it's not, I can always add a little bit of the ginger syrup, because that will, once it's stabilized, that'll add a little bit more of the healthy ginger, and it'll bump up the sugar or the sweetness level of it as well. So we'll play that by ear, keep you updated obviously, and yeah, I think this is gonna be fantastic. So definitely like and subscribe, click that little bell icon so you can be notified whenever we release new videos, and follow along. So that's all I really have for you today. I'm kind of wondering your guys' thoughts. Do you guys think that mead is actually like kind of medicinal? Obviously, depending what you put in there. Or do you just think, well, whatever, it's just an alcoholic drink? What are your thoughts? Let us know down in the comments below. And thank you for watching. And just throwing it out there that there are other people out there with meads. Take him from me, he's drinking everything. That's all I'm gonna say. Have a good night. I need some on myself. Give me some of yours. Give me some of yours. Give me some of yours.